I'm live. Good morning. I'm Sensei Mish. This is Morning Tea with me. It is Saturday morning, 7:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, Morning Tea with me. So it's been a while since a couple weeks since I've been on. I don't know. I just haven't been feeling it the last couple weeks. I don't know why, but I am here. So if anybody comes on, why don't you put a message, because I've been having trouble, and then the last time I was on a couple weeks ago, it worked just fine. Now the last time I was on, like, I had taken a little break. I couldn't see any of the messages. I talked for an hour and I couldn't see anything. So hopefully that isn't a break. One of the things that's happened in the last couple of weeks is I upgraded to the new browser, or the new operating system for Mac, and my version of QuickTime, or not QuickTime, QuickBooks didn't work, so I had to downgrade. So even getting into this morning's podcast, I use StreamYard to stream this. I had to log in as not a brand new user, but like I had never logged in before, or it had been a while. So I had to do the whole code thing, and yeah, it was pretty funny. So so yes, please say hi. I'm actually going to go into what? Seriously? Hold on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this one easier. I don't know. It just wants to ask for my password everywhere I go, which isn't a bad thing, but kind of annoying at the same time. So let's see. Let's go to me. Oh, and nobody sent a comment, so that's okay. I'm going to do a test from the phone. And it came up. Cool. So I can see comments. Anyway, how's everyone doing? I'm actually going to close that out. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. I have last couple of weeks, I have crashed 2 PTO meetings. And by crashed, I mean going to them uninvited. But one was more of an invite. Like, it's a PTO of a school that I've been trying to get into for, I don't know how long. But I'd sent them regular emails. I had sent them messages through Facebook. I had dropped off physical information about how our school can help them, as in fundraising, and to no avail. So I, of course, follow them on Facebook, and so it pops up and it says, come to our first PTO meeting. Everybody welcome. Community. Who was it? Community, families, parents. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the community. I can go. So I went. The second PTO meeting I went to, I dealt with a PTO in the past. We've actually been to a PTO meeting in the past. But it was, come to our PTO meeting. It really didn't say community, but it's like, okay, I've dealt with these people before. And I had sent an email at some point, but I think it was way before school started, and I didn't get any response. So what do? You show up physically, and I have at least one person watching. Why don't you say hi? See if you can. If you're listening in the car, don't worry about it. So I show up there. Well, PTO meeting 1. I don't know these people at all. They say that refreshments will be available. Well, I brought donuts. And I didn't know how many donuts to bring, so I brought 2 dozen donuts. And they were like, "You brought donuts." They had a small box of cookies and I think a thing of apple juice, or like just a regular carton of juice. Okay. You know, so I had donuts. Anyway, so I brought the donuts, and and it was so funny because I walk in the door, and I went into the lobby, and they're talking about this one woman was talking to somebody in the office, and she's like, "Oh, I'm off to the PTO meeting," and I'm standing there with donuts, and she's like, "Oh, donuts? Who are those for?" And I said, "Well, actually, I'm here for the PTO meeting. I brought gifts." And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm headed that way." And she introduces herself as the associate principal. Very kind, very nice. And as we're walking down the hall, she says, "Oh, what children do you have here?" And I said, "I actually don't have any children here." I said, I'm the owner of a local business, and the advertisement went out to the community, so I am the community." So anyway, very warm welcome. We're actually doing an event for them on what's it called? We're doing an event for them on the 27th. There's like a costume dance party, and so we're doing cotton candy for them. It was Lisa even showed up, so it was the 2 of us there. But yeah, it was very warm welcome. They didn't know who I was. I didn't know who they were. And they let me kind of explain, talk about the programs and how I could do this and that for them. And it was really cool. So anyway, they, I was, like I said, very warm response. Yeah. Yeah, Rob, morning. That's awesome to hear you received such a warm welcome. Yes, it was fantastic. So PTO meeting crash number 2. I only brought 1 box of donuts, and maybe that was the problem. There was only 1 box of donuts. But so I get there, and I see the PTO president. I see her. I think it's her cousin. I don't think it's her sister. But I've done things with them in the past, and they're like, "Oh, hi, Mish, how are you?" They weren't like, "Oh, why are you here?" They greeted me, and so we were waiting for somebody to open the school. So we go into the school, and I sit down, and it's funny because as we sit, I put out the donuts, and I open the donuts so they can people can feast. And president is like, "Okay, so she says, we actually have a guest here. She opens up the meeting, and she says, we actually have a guest here. I'm going to let him go first, because I know what he's going to talk about, but it's good information." and but I'm gonna let him go first so he doesn't have to sit through all the boring stuff of what a PTO meeting would be. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's really kind. So I introduce myself. I talk about the school. I talk about the different programs, and the principal is there at this meeting. And the entire time, she's sitting there listening, and I'm sitting at a table. I'm looking at everybody as I talk. Just complete, like, I shouldn't have been there. It was just very, very off-putting feeling. So, and so I did my spiel, and I knew I couldn't stay for long, so I thanked her. I was like, actually, thank you. I can't stay for long because I actually have to go teach. But then they do introductions, so they do introductions going all the way around, and it's funny because they when there were parents and students, there were parents and there were teachers there because it is a parent teacher organization. But they were kind of going around, and it's like, oh, I'm the X grade teacher. Oh, I have so and so in grade 2 or 3. Well, it gets to the principal, and she says, I have 400 and some kids here at the school, and you're like, ha ha ha, But it was funny because as everybody was talking, parent or teacher, she had a smile on her face. She was it was like she was enjoying listening to that. And then it came to me because I was kind of at the end of the row. I was like second to the end of the introductions. And I said, well, again, my name is Ms. Handwerker. And I wish I had said this because everyone was like, oh, I have this kid. I actually used to have a kid who went to the school. And not me personally, as in biological, but a kid that trains with me. And I completely spaced it, which I probably should have. I said, oh, well, he's a 6th grader now, but he used to go here. And but it was when I started talking, I said, my name is Ms. Handwerker, and I own Artists of Martial Arts. I said, I don't have any kids go here. All my kids are grown. I said, but I'm the king of crashing PTO meetings. And some teachers laughed, some parents laughed, the PTO president laughed. The president or the principal, just like that. And I'm thinking, yeah, I am not welcome at this meeting. So I kept an eye on the time. I maybe stayed another 15, 20 minutes, something like that. I think 20 minutes is a little long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then, there was kind of like a break in conversation. And I said, I got to go, thank you for letting me crash the meeting. Now, mind you, at the first PTO meeting I go to, this other school, like kids and parents were all over those donuts. At this meeting, where I just brought one and it was sitting like it was in arm's reach of everybody. Nobody had to get up to get the donuts. And I even made a comment, have a donut. We just simply watched the donuts get stale. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. So I will probably not go back to a PTO meeting there unless, of course, they actually ask me. Now they are interested in doing like a self-defense type of fundraiser where bringing more of the adults into it and doing it that way. But yeah, I completely unwelcome there. Now, They weren't gluten-free donuts. Well, let's just say, not to judge anybody, but if I was to profile people, which I'm really good at, I would say that uh, most of the people sitting there could have really given a shit if it was gluten-free or not. Seriously. So yeah, Anyway, but uh, one of the events that I did, I had met the associate principal, and she was very kind of stuck up too. And it's just like, and Lisa and I were talking, and she's like, well, maybe that's just their air. I'm like, I couldn't. This is the same school. So last year, I can't remember at what point, but I dropped off hand sanitizer to, I don't know, a good number of schools, and they all had a label on there, courtesy of Artisan Martial Arts. Thank you for, helping lead our our younger generation, or what. I can't remember what I really wrote on there. But it was for them. It was like specifically for them. And I go in there. I remember I went in there to drop off something for the president, and this is like 2 or 3 weeks. Well, they had one of my little squirt bottles there, and yeah, it it looked like they tried to rip it off, but they were unsuccessful, because I use the stickers. I use those labels that like cover other labels. Those are the type of Avery labels I use. And so they stuck another label on top of my label, and it still kind of showed through, but I'm like, and I understand that, as a school, they can't promote businesses like the PTO can. Like the PTO can say, hey, we're doing business with this local company. I totally get that. I understand that. But yeah, it was interesting where like they tried to cover it up, but all these other schools that I dropped that stuff off, yeah, there was no drop. I had gone into them previously, and name is out there, name is on the label, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I don't know. So that was my my PTO experience. But yeah, it's so funny because we're already the first PTO meeting that I went to, this other school, where I had the very warm welcome. We're doing something on the 27th, like I said. We've scheduled something for the 7th of December. And this is basically just providing popcorn. Or no, we're providing cotton candy at their event. We're just doing cotton candy. That's it. So it's like, yeah, that's so cool. Another school that I deal with, we did we did kindergarten meet and greet for them. We did at their open house, we offered free popcorn. And then we're going to end up doing like an after school martial arts thing for them. And then we're going to do, there was something else that we were going to do. I can't remember. Let's see. And we will probably end up doing their carnival again. And their carnival is actually scheduled for the last uh, not the last day. What is it? It's like June 9th or whatever, which is really cool because um, uh, my birthday is I'm hoping to bring Jim Corn out, which is actually the weekend after that. So yeah, it's going to be, or not the weekend after, the weekend before that. so yeah, so there's all of that. So that'll kind of line up with stuff. But yeah, so things have been kind of crazy that way, at least with the PTO front. I've got I want to congratulate everybody who got promoted at the HKI camp last weekend. Most notably Rob. So I think now we can all go around and just go, hey GM, yo GM. So or I don't know, maybe the Red Belt group. But yeah, I think it's I don't know who all got promoted. I know Rob. I saw post from Rob. I saw let's see, I saw Clay Pearson. I know he got a promotion. Let's see, I know that Davey's daughter got first degree black belt. That's very cool. Congratulations to her. And Bradley got I got his fourth, which makes him a master. Grandmaster. Yeah, LOL. Red belts, not to be confused with red shirts. Well, I don't know. It depends. Are you going to wear, like, my gi top is blue, so I know your gi top is red. I know. Are you going to change the gi top? Are you going to stay red, or are you going to go to a different color? I noticed Harvey wears, he has a red one, but he also he's been wearing his black one in the last couple of pictures that I've had. Yeah, Rob is like, I'm not sure yet. So yeah, that's just everything is that. Now I went out with some friends with actually only one friend from Providence. I work with the other one now at the shop, but we've got this little, basically we're called the Cynical Seven, and that's a whole different story. But we have this group of I have this group of friends that we all worked at Providence together at some point. And we try and keep in touch. We keep in touch through a texting, thread, but we have what is it? But we'd go out to drink every now and then. Sometimes people can't make it. Sometimes people can't. So ends up being Ian, Derek, and I. Haven't seen Ian for like ever. And since basically the last time I was at Providence. So it's been almost over 2 years. And we're talking, we're all, we all read comic books and sci-fi and all kind of stuff. And and I tell him that for me, I've just, I listen to different books on psychology and teaching, and like it's kind of boring. And then I like autobiographies. That's really good. Well, he tells me of this it's a sci-fi. I guess it's like the stories have been around since like 2020 or 2017 or something like that. But they're called the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. And it's basically stories from the perspective of basically this cyborg robot. In the books, he's referred to as a sec bot because he's a security bot. But he just wants to watch his shows. He just wants to watch TV. That's basically all he wants to do. And he's like, oh, he doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't like humans. He'll do his job, but he doesn't want to do his job. Like, he's like, oh, do I have to do this? Like, I really hate doing this. And so he's kind of this cynical, it's pretty funny. So Ian's telling me about it, and he's like, you've got to read these books. You'll really enjoy them. So the first few books are only like just over 3 hours of audio. So they're short books. But I listened to the first one and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is yeah. So the first let's see where I'll bring this up. Hopefully it won't start playing. I'll do library. Let's see. The first book is called All Systems Red. And this is like, yeah, come on, think. Can I make it bigger? I just want to make the picture bigger. Okay. So anyway, so it's All Systems Red. It's by Martha Wells. It's book 1. And this guy, Kevin R. Free, he does an amazing, like, it is so awesome the way that he reads the book. And now the first 2 books have been redone in kind of like a dramatized adaptation. And on it was either Amazon or it was on Audible. It's got 1 star for the second book, the adaptation, the dramatized adaptation. And the guy's comment was like, he's like, don't get this. He says, I always thought that the idea of a dramatized adaptation would be kind of fun. He says, but we've been spoiled by Kevin R. Free reading the book, reading as the murder bot, because, he gives it the right cadence. He's cynical, the right pauses. And he says the guy that portrays Murderbot, it just doesn't. He's just not. What is it? He just isn't. He reads it too fast. He doesn't read it the right way. So, and he says, I've listened to all the books. I've read all the books. And even when I read the books, I hear Kevin's voice when I'm reading these books. And I'm just like, that's so amazing. So anyway, if you have Audible, like I just have a regular Audible account where I just get 1 credit a month. Like I could download I think there's 6 books total. I think there's a 7th book coming out, or maybe it's an 8th book coming out. I can't remember, but I was able to download 4 of the books for free. Like the first 3 books were free. And then I think I had to pay for the 4th one. And normally I would have like paid cash, but the cash portion was actually more expensive than using what I pay for a credit. So I just use a credit. But yeah, like, what an awesome series. And it's like, it's got like a Hugo Award. Let's see if I can. All Systems Red. What awards titles? You can think. It says, oh, I can't make it. It's a New York Times bestseller, but it also won like sci-fi writing awards. Anyway, Murderbot Diaries. I found there's a what is it? There is there's a set of books that on Amazon where it has all 6 in hardbound. And I told my family, I was like, I shared it with my little family text group. I was like, this is what I want for Christmas. So yeah, it's a great. I'm just about an hour or so into book 4 right now. I think book 5 actually ends up being like 12 hours long. So it's like an actual book. So like it's a good size book. But yeah, if you're into sci-fi, yeah, it's great. I love this book. But one of the things I have wanted to, and this has been like this for years. I have always wanted to write a book or books, depending, about the adventures of a hospital security officer who's kind of cynical, like me. Basically, I wanted to write my story, but use not just the adventure, the adventures of me, but everybody that I've dealt with. And I've kind of already created this character in my head. But I was just like, how do I do this? Do I write it as a book that you're, you'd just be reading and like you're just like it's not narrated, it's just like a book that you'd be reading as if you're doing this. And I was like, and especially after especially after dealing with Jim's book, it's he's telling stories. He's the narrator. And listening to this, I was like, now I know how I'm going to write this book. So I'm going to write it as a diary. And not really like, this on this day. I'm just going to basically, it's just going to be one really long story. And yeah, but it's going to be the adventures. It's going to be hospital adventures. And all the shit and crap that I had to deal with at the hospital. So yeah, the ever popular idiom of writing what you know. Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing is that like that's really the only way to write a book. It I mean, I don't know, there are some people who have good imaginations, but I mean, I think we all write books from, even when we're creating worlds. That's our world. We know that world. So Young, good morning, sir. Sounds cool. He says, I have book ideas looming. Yeah, everybody, they always say that everybody has a book inside them. And that's true. Um, yeah. Like, well, I was telling my landlord, she wants to write a book about, like, how to deal in real estate, how to build wealth, all the stuff that she has done herself, and kind of almost like as a guidebook, kind of as a guidebook that what is it? For her kids. So, so they know. And I'm like, well, just start writing. So because she's amazed that, I've written all these books, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of amazed too. Like, I never really thought that I would do that. Young says, my dad started one that I desperately want to finish. Yeah, I would do it. Who is the author? There was an author out there where it was their, I think Bram was telling me about it. I don't know who it was. I want to say, and I could totally be wrong on this, I want to say that it was Frank Herbert. He was writing a Dune book, and he didn't finish it because he died, maybe, but his son finished it. So I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, so it's just, anyway, so that was, and like, Mark Klein, his dad wrote books, and that's what inspired Mark to write the 2 books that he wrote. And actually, Mark's books are pretty good. Like, they're actually really entertaining stories. So it's a recipe book. Young says it's a recipe book, but I want to include short stories about my dad. That would be fantastic. Like, that would be awesome. Like, what recipe book? How? What kind of recipes was he focusing on? And then Rob says Brandon Sanderson finished Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. Okay, yeah, yeah. So there's maybe I want to say no. It wasn't. It wasn't. Southern Old Cafeteria Recipes. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I have a friend of mine. Her father ran a restaurant out here called Davidson's, and it had been around forever. And then he ended up passing away. I don't know how very many years ago. But she's got all these recipes from the restaurant. And I was like, dude, Tanya, you need to make a recipe book. The recipes, break them down so they're like, they'll feed a family, do like a meal of 4 or a meal of 6 or, whatever. And then, do, and just call it, Davidson's recipes or something like that. And you could have, and then you could tell, like, just like Young, just like your idea of, telling little stories about your dad, of having pictures from Davidson's, inside pictures, her growing up in the restaurant, pictures of her dad, the picture of the outside. I'm sure she's got a picture of the outside of the restaurant, and I was like, that would be like, if you're looking at like Southeast Portland, or maybe it's Southwest Portland, I can't remember, but if you're looking at like historic Portland, Oregon type of restaurants that people went to on a regular basis because it was good food, I said, put that out there. Like, that's like, that will be at least a local seller. And so, of course she hasn't, and I've told her that I'd help her out with it, but it is what it is, but I think that would be cool. But yeah, everybody, and like, I've got a bunch of different book ideas. It's just, they're all just in my brain. So, let's see. So what else is going on? Oh, uh, so Ahsoka has, I'm sure everybody's, Ahsoka has kind of went, I really enjoyed Ahsoka. And I was actually going to do an Ahsoka day, um, where I just watch all of Ahsoka at the school. And I decided against it. And I don't know why I decided, like, it was just going to be a long day. I really couldn't get anybody else interested, which I like. Why wouldn't you want to watch that on the big screen? I just, yeah. So I might do it later, but I, as a whole, I really enjoyed the show. And I think that the ending, um, like it brought up more questions that were not necessarily the ending, but I think as a whole, it brought up more questions that need to be answered. There's got to definitely be a season two, or that they finish it up in the movie. But how do you make a 2 to 2.5 hour Star Wars movie for the Mandoverse, and include, like, and tie up that storyline of Ahsoka and Sabine, stuck on uh, uh, Perythia, or whatever that planet's name was. Plus the connection of the father, son, and daughter. Like how is that? There's been so many there's so many theories out there, of how that ties in. I don't, yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. Um, I guess, let's see. Um, see, Rob, so many threads left that I don't think 2 hours would cut it. Yeah, totally. Another 6 to 8 episodes might be enough. What I think, this is what I think. I think that they should do a season 2 of Ahsoka. If they do a season 2 of Ahsoka, a season 4 of Mando, and then do the movie. So, and really, like, the way that Mando season 3 ended, kind of technically they don't really need to do a season 4. I mean, they season 4 has been written, but I know that, like, Jon Favreau has said that. But yeah, I definitely, they need another season of Ahsoka to kind of tie up some threads. Um, and then, of course, who's going to play Baylan Skoll. Um, there was, who was it? There was somebody, like, early on, people were posting, like, pictures of Leah Shriver, as he could play a good Baylan Skoll, because they're really only just a couple of years apart age wise, and they've got similar facial features, which I'm like, okay, I'd buy that. But Shriver, I don't know. I think he might do a good job as that character. But the latest one, and I don't know how true this is. The latest that I heard was Dolph Lundgren, because he played the Punisher, and because Ray Stevenson played the Punisher, that he was like, I want to play Baylan Skoll, and that he would do justice to the character, because it would be one Punisher taking over for the next. And I was like, uh, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah. So I thought, like, cool idea, but does he have the same facial features? I think that I mean, when you put a beard on, I mean, that does cover up some stuff, but I just don't know. I just I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But the Leaf Shriver, I mean, they look similar. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I don't know. So, and then Rob says, it says, so many people have stepped up. Leif Schreiber, Dolph Lundgren. He even says not 100% sure on that one. If it needs to be a Punisher for a Punisher, Thomas Jane would be better from an acting standpoint. True, but Thomas Jane, I don't know. He doesn't have the same facial features either. Maybe a little bit better actor, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. Yeah, so yeah. And since we're kind of on a Star Wars thing here, I've kind of already planned for this summer. So like May 4th. May 4th is on a Saturday this year. So May 4th, I'm going to be doing a lightsaber seminar, basically teaching modular lightsaber. And then the summer camp will also be on Saturdays too. Because I don't know if I'm still going to be, if I still need to be at the shop or not, but it'll be do like, you know, every Saturday for however many Saturdays. And I'm going to try and reach it out to 5 because I really want to do the, you know, the watching the movie series. And then we'll do, and then there'll be Bram's birthday camp. So I gotta look at the schedule for that. But I think that would be, I'm kind of excited for it. Let's see. Rob says Thomas Jane doesn't have the same build, but I think Schreiber would be the best fit as a 1-to-1 replacement. Yeah. So, and I think that Leif Schreiber, he's not a bad actor. However, Ray Donovan, like when he played, like that's really what, for me, the way he portrays Ray Donovan, that's kind of like, yeah, that's a great step for Baylan Skoll. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm into that. But yeah, so I'm if they do a season 2, which they've got to continue the story, and they've got to keep and you know, who says that they can't, you know, do Lee Schreiber for the same build and not do a deep fake. Like they did that for Luke Skywalker. They did that for like who says that they couldn't do that? Like seriously. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah. Now with what is it? With Star Trek, on the Star Trek front, and this actually kind of rolls into what do you call it? Some new students I have. So I have 2, potentially 3. The third one technically hasn't signed up yet, but I did talk to the mother. The mother's going to sign her up. So I have these 2 new students, husband and wife team, and you know, we're working. They are Star Trek fans. And it's funny. So I was talking to the husband the other day. He had emailed me at the beginning of the month, and I had called, and for some reason the phone, it didn't go through. And then he had, and I emailed him, and of course that all went to junk mail. But then I just called him to see if the phone would work, and it worked with no problem. So it worked. We went to, we started, let's see, that worked. And like, I asked him, how, because he says, oh, and my wife loves she's like, she loves the fact that you have an Enterprise tattoo. And I'm like, how did you find me? So of course, I'm on the internet, got videos out there. And so he's like, yeah, he says, we were looking for a school. We noticed that, you had a school right down the street. And so we looked a little bit more into you, and I just watched a ton of your content, and we're both Star Trek fans. And of course, some of your newer videos have my tattoo. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So they're Star Trek fans and that was one of the reasons they wanted to train. I mean, not just because they wanted to get into something, but it was like, and that's kind of the way I do my Kyushu Corner episodes. That it's like, hey, if you want to get an idea of the person I am, watch this stuff, like watch this, or because I don't watch my Kyushu Corner stuff because that's kind of, this is just who I am. You like me, don't like me, I really don't care. But it's, but yeah, it's funny. So, Star Trek, Kempo, yeah, it all kind of works out. Best episode of Lower Decks this week, which for an actionless episode is saying a lot. Yeah, actually what was it? Episode? Oh, wait a minute. I haven't seen this week's episode yet. I saw last week's episode, the one with Badgie, which it wasn't a bad episode. But no, I have not seen Thursday's episode yet. So I'll have to watch it. I have not gotten there yet. Oh, and I also, I completely forgot to mention, TJ, he got promoted. Did he get his fourth dawn? I can't remember. Rob, did TJ get a fourth dawn? Is that what he got? I know he said he got a third dawn from one system, but like from Young system, he was promoted to fourth. Yes. Okay. I didn't want to forget TJ. I don't follow everybody, but, and of course, I don't know, but I didn't want to forget that call out. TJ's a good guy. Badgie was a good episode too. Yeah, no, it was pretty good. Oh, and then Harvey's supposed to be coming down. Either he's coming down today or I'm going up tomorrow. So I will be seeing Harvey in the next couple. But I haven't heard from Harvey yet, so I don't know if and when he's leaving. Yeah, Young, I'm so proud of his progress. Yeah, he's done quite a bit. I think he's doing good. I'd like to. How is his school going? Did he have to close his school? Because I know at one point, he was saying he was kind of on the verge, and then, and I haven't asked him. I know he had made a comment, and I was like, hey, I told him to check out Brandon Beliso because he's really helped me out. And then asked if he needed any ideas to reach out to me. But I guess Clay was kind of stepped up and also helped him out a little bit. So, Clay's he's got multiple schools. So, so he's doing something right, but just he runs it from a different mindset than I do, that I run mine. Um, but also another good resource for information. No, not yet. It's struggling for multiple reasons. Aren't all of our schools? Well, I'm lucky that, that that my school can at least pay for itself. That's kind of you know I'm very grateful that I've been able to get to that point before actually having to get a job to pay for my mortgage. Let's see. Oh, he seems to be doing the right things, but it isn't working. Okay. Maybe I'll teach him the art of crashing PTO meetings. Because sometimes you win, which I had a huge win, and sometimes you lose, and I kind of had a huge lose there. But yeah. So yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that one, but yeah, like for me, like let's talk about this week. And I know we're just kind of bouncing around on topics, but like for here, let's see, please reach out to him if you don't mind. Absolutely. I'll totally do that. So like for me, I am fortunate that it can pay for itself. But like, and the whole goal is to get it to pay me so I don't have to do other stuff. Because I will say this, I enjoy my job at the shop. I really do. This week was a really long week because we were slow, but I have an amazing supervisor who is told by his upper ups that if we are slow, to send people home. But he's like, nope, all of my guys deserve a paycheck. So we sweep concrete off of concrete if we need to. Like, yeah, it's really good. Now we were busy on Friday, so it's back up. And my buddy who works there too, who helped me get the job, or at least he put in a good word for me. He said it's like this all the time. Like November, December, it's going to get really busy. So I'm not worried about that. But I will say it does interfere with some of the things that I really want to do. My 90 days is like November 10th, November 11th, something like that is when I hit my 90 days. And so I will actually be able to have sick time. I have like 5 days. And then in January, I get a 10th, 12 or like 7 more. So I'll have 12. So, and I even talked to my supervisor about it because like the way the shop works is that for me, vacation time, like I don't get any vacation time until I'm there a full year. So it doesn't accrue. I just get it. And Hollywood Video was kind of like that too. Like every 6 months, you got a full week when I was in management. So, but he's like, and I said, say like I want to hold a seminar. And he goes, call out sick. Or I said, so he says, yeah, he says, if you want to go to a seminar or if you hold a seminar for the school, he said, if you need to be off on Friday because you're flying somewhere, call out sick. I mean, he says, you don't have to be sick and we can't hold it against you. So I do have that potential coming, but like working during the day, like for me, I get up at like 4:45. I work 2.5 hours or 8.5 hours. I get to the school, I teach. And so I don't get home sometimes until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And then I eat and fall asleep. And I do that for 5 days in a row. And Friday is a lighter day for me, so I actually get to get home when it's bright out, and I actually get to spend a little bit of time with my family. But I'll tell you this: having small kids and doing that, they would never see their father. But it's a challenge. So the goal is for the school to pay me so I don't have to do that, so I can devote all of my time to the school like I was doing before. And I spent a year and a half fully focused on the school, and there were some things that I did right, and they worked out. There was some things I did right and it didn't work out. There were some things I did wrong and it really didn't work out. So, but like, say this month, okay, I have two new students officially. Okay. I have a third 99.9%. Okay. So October, so for the month of October, I'll have 3 new students. That's not a lot. But hey, that's 3 new students. But at the same time, I had a father, not because I'm not doing a good job as an instructor, and not because his kid doesn't enjoy it, but financially, he has to pull his kid out until the beginning of the year, because he runs his own business. He's got to pay. He calls me. He says, "I got to pay my 2022 taxes." And he says, I need every cent. So I understand that. So I don't have that income for him. Potentially I will have that income coming back, in January, but I can't really count on that. I don't know that. That's not a definite. So I lost one. Grandma is taking her kid out because grandma's company is going on strike, and she's not going to get paid. So she's got to account for every dime. So there's 2. Was there a third one? Was there a third one? Oh, well, also I have one student who, like, since mine is month to month, I don't do contracts. One person, he went on vacation like for 6 weeks. So I actually didn't get, like, that was almost 2 months worth of, and now he's back. He says, I'm back, but I have COVID. So I'll come back when I'm better. So that's 2 months without that income. So when we're talking about income and money flowing in, yeah. But here's the thing is that I lost 2 and I gained 3. Okay. Potentially I will get those 2 back, which is great financially. But when you're just right on the edge, a couple $100 over paying, for it paying for itself, it can be a struggle. And and I have an amazing landlord. She is so amazing that when I told her, I was like, hey, school can pay for itself, but I'm a little bit behind. So do you mind if you can take my lease in payments? And she's like, sure. She's like, I don't want you to close because you can't pay me all at once. Pay me a little bit at a time. I'm not paying any late fees or anything like that. It's amazing. And also we've got some amazing things coming up. Like, so I have been tracking, like I've been promoting this trunk or treat. Today, we have 1 more week until the trunk or treat. I have been tracking the weather like crazy. So a couple weeks ago, it was going to rain like 3 or 4 days in a row. And the 28th it was going to rain, and I'm just like, "Ugh." And I'm just like, yeah, but that's like the 2-week forecast. It's never like that. And so now it's down to the 1-week forecast. And even yesterday, maybe the day before, it was supposed to be clear. So now we're looking at, now it's going to be foggy today, cloudy tomorrow, partly sunny on Monday, and then we're supposed to have chances of rain Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it totally clears up. It's supposed to be clear on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So, but of course, it's actually going to rain on Tuesday, which is actually Halloween. So all I care about, and you know what, even if it just had mist, like if it was overcast and it was like, oh, we'll have rain in the morning, but you're good in the evening, that's all I care about. I need this thing to go off. We've been getting the information out there. It's going to be, I'm super excited, super, super excited. So yeah, yeah, super excited. Like, and all these businesses, including McDonald's, like I've got 15 businesses. I've got the bank, the only bank that really signed up was KeyBank. But yeah, just, I'm really, really excited about this. I'm going to try and get McDonald's to put it up on there. I'm going to say, hey, can you put it up? Trunk or treat, oh my God, can you tell I'm just a little bit excited? Yeah. So anyway, so there you go. That's kind of everything that's been going on. Yeah, Young, I'll reach out to TJ. I'll send him a message and ask him how everything is going. I'll congratulate him on his promotion. Yeah, I'll definitely be seeing Harvey this weekend, if not today, tomorrow. Hopefully this weekend. I have lunch next Saturday with a buddy of mine. So if I don't see Harvey at all this weekend, I am driving up next Sunday because got to see Harvey before he leaves. Yeah, that's just kind of how everything is going. So life is good. Life is stressful, but that's what, a nice warm cup of tea, it always helps. Anyway, so I am out of tea and I've been talking for about an hour now. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I will see you next Saturday morning with just kind of another update. Hopefully the update will be clear skies. Anyway, but it is the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, love you all. Be safe and live long and prosper.